Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live fly tying show with me here, Peter Driver in Piscari Fly. We're based down here in Thomastown and County Kilkenny, and great show lined up for us tonight. I hope everybody's keeping well. How you doing, Declan Noon and Liam Long is on there. Darius, how you doing, Darius? Hope you're keeping well. James Hope, Brendan Spillane, good to have you all back on with us. Graham Lanigan, Grode Kieran, Damien Willis, well done Grode. I think Grode won our flies last week from our draw. Who else we got in there? John Ditch, good to have you back here too, John. Patrick Burke, Kieran Sherlock, Dee Doherty, Robert Flaherty. Good evening all, and I hope everyone had a good week. Welcome to another Saturday Night Live. As you can see, I've no voice here in front of us at the moment. We're going to be doing a little bit of prep work to start with because tonight is Booby Night. Okay, when we think of boobies, we automatically think of, I know what some of you are thinking now, and it's not that, but we automatically think of stocky flies, booby blobs, booby streamers, lures, all that kind of stuff. It's not the case so much. In the last number of seasons, I've seen personally through the fly tying business here, we tie all our flies personally here, and I tie a lot of flies to order. More and more people requesting traditional Irish lock style flies with booby eyes. Okay, so great show lined up for you tonight. If you haven't hit that share button already, please do hit that share button. Let's get a crew on here tonight. Don't forget, if you hit that share button, it puts you into the draw on Monday or Tuesday to win all the flies we tied tonight, or any we tied previous in practice. Also, hi Desmond Paul Burke, David Hannaford, Nigel Haynes from South Wales, good to have you on there. Hugh Flavin, good to have you on as well, Hugh. Good stuff. Garrett Core, good to have you on there, Garrett. Yeah, they sure did, Garrett. We had a great wedding anniversary for my mum and dad. 50 years married last week. We had a great old crack. Cooked some food, had some beers, told some stories, and great fun. Great stuff, Garrod. So don't forget to share the stream, folks. Hit the share or comment, drop by and say hello. It is interactive, so if you have any questions, Alan Allis is on there. How you doing, Alan? If you have any questions, shoot them by in the comments box. If I can't get to them tonight, I will go back on the stream tomorrow or later tonight, and I'll answer some questions. Or some of the group will kindly come on and answer them for me. Dylan is on there. How you doing, Dylan from Wales? I hope Mark and Dave got on okay over there. Jim, how you doing? Richie Gallagher, hello. How you going? Dave is not our trivia master tonight. I will be doing the trivia master. He's on the way back from Wales. Himself and Mark popped over for a few days to the Welsh Sea there. Had some great fishing and met up with Dylan and the lads in Cohen and had a great time. So they're on the way back on the plane at the moment. So I will have a trivia quiz for you tonight. So listen out for that one. First correct answer in the stream. When that comes, we'll win a lovely goodie pack for themselves. Okay, lots of goodies, stickers and everything in that there. So Jim is on there from Quebec. Great to have you on with us, Jim. Hope you enjoy the show. We're live here every Saturday night from 8:30 right through now till March, the Saturday before Paddy's Day. So say tonight is Booby Night, okay? So a lot of more traditional. How you doing, Kevin Summers down on stage? John O'Riordan, good to have you on with us there. A lot more requests are coming in constantly now for different traditional Irish patterns tied with booby heads, booby eyes, whatever you want to describe it. And they're really become popular. Not only become popular, they're becoming super sective. I will, Kieran. I will make it super easy. How you doing, Robbie? Very good to have you on with us. We have a guest hire on with us as well tonight. Our good friend from Lithuania, Rokas from Flight to Tie is on tonight doing a lovely mayfly pattern for us later on as well. So stay tuned to watch that one. I got 3 fairly interesting patterns for you tonight. The first 2 are based around the traditional Irish. So we're going to do a booby mayfly. We're going to do a booby stimulator. 2 of the most popular types of flies they get asked for to put booby flies on. I was going to do a booby dabbler, but I kind of did one in a fast video. Thanks, Kevin. Hi, Jack Cantwell. I did a booby dabbler there in a kind of a fast hyper-lapse video there during the week, if any of you saw it, as kind of an intro to tonight. So I'm not going to go back over that one. The technique of tying the dabbler is the same. It's just about mounting. It's talking about boobies, the foams, how we form our heads and stuff like that is more tonight. So we're going to do booby mayfly, booby stimmy, and then after that we're going to show another use for boobies. We're going to do a booby apps. Okay, really good fly for still waters, which would be very relevant for people that are going to fishing now. If anybody's going fishing the Banks competition tomorrow in Laois Angling Centre, the big Banks competition's on tomorrow. The best of luck to everybody. It would be a fly worth trying tomorrow. But just before we move into the whole in-depth thing about foams and all that kind of stuff, just want to congratulate Sean Maher, who won the first round of AWOL League last Sunday in Laois Angling Centre with a whopping 21 fish. Well done, Sean. Congratulations. Also, huge congratulations. It's no mean feat for an Irish team to get a gold medal. But the Irish Banks team headed over to Wales last week or the week before. Brian Kerr, Gary Maguire, Kevin Lafford, Conor Cunningham, Basil Shields, Shane Bird, and of course managed by Campbell Baird from Woodford Fishery up there in the north. And they claimed the gold in Wales. Absolutely fantastic achievement. Well done to each angler. Great team effort, and it's great to see Irish teams feature on the top of the table. So well done, lads. Fantastic result over there in Wales for all the lads. Okay, so moving on. Quick happy birthday to Josh Walker from Fishcoin. Josh will be on with us in a couple of weeks. Talking about Fishcoin's Josh's birthday, and Conor McRae is also there. So Conor, happy birthday. I'm going to get rid of some of these notes out of the way. Don't forget, if you haven't hit that share button, folks, hit that share button, and you're in yourself to draw to win tonight's flies. So moving on here. So Booby Flies said, they've been around for quite a bit. Actually, the man that was he has been recognised as the person who's kind of coined the name Booby, and he's the good question, Martin Kenny. We'll come on to that when we're actually talking about the flies and how they're going to swim and stuff like that as I tie them. So Martin just want to know, is there much difference between a booby dabbler and a muddler dabbler? A little bit. The booby certainly will have a different effect on the water. It's a more buoyant fly, Martin. Boobies were designed initially to be fished on sinking lines. So a fly that floats off the bottom, sinking lines, stuff like that. It can be fished on floating lines and create quite a wake. They can be fished on any line, basically, the way they're going to. It depends on what you're trying to imitate or what way you want the fly to trigger trout's aggression or whatever. But Gordon Fraser was the man that was actually originally kind of coined with the man who invented the booby fly, even though there was people like Charles Brooks, John Goddard and stuff like that would have been kind of in around that prior to Gordon Fraser writing about it in his book. But he was a guy who fished Eastbrook and Rutland all the time, and he done a booby nymph, and that's basically where the boobies came out of. So he put 2 polystyrene balls and secured it in behind the eye of the hook, and that's he kind of booby, and he wrote about it. So I doing Peter Wadden, Jamin Conway, and Luke is on with us there as well. So that's where kind of boobies originated from. So he was using polystyrene balls, but now of course what we see in boobies all the time is pre-cut. You can buy boobies. Booby cord, I call it, okay? So you can buy them pre-cut, just like that. That's a Vineyard packet. We got loads of them in the shop, okay? Different colours, different sizes. You buy them pre-cut, and they're good. You trim them up. I'd normally get 2 booby eyes per one cord there. The length of the booby eye kind of is normally around 1 centimetre. John Johnson, I wish I could, but I'm not that technical, John, and I'm here on my own, and I got so many different things to do. It's not that easy for me, John. Sorry, John wanted to know if I could switch camera. So I'm going to do my best with what I have, John. Stick with me. We're going to be tying flies in a few moments when I get through this little bit. But so the booby cord, I normally get 2 per that, okay? So you can buy them that way. Another way you can get them pre-formed already. I think there's a couple of companies out there selling them now at the moment where they're rounded and the division is in between them, and you just mount them onto your fly as you see fit. You can get them that way as well. I don't have any of them here. I don't use them that way. Or you can go with the Upavon foam block, premium HD foam block, and this is a black colour. We got a load of these in the shop as well. Comes in loads of different colours. Thanks, Jared. Comes in loads of different colours. You can see where I've been drilling those ones out. These foam blocks, I find these great. It's really high density foam, float like crazy, and what you do then is you take the Upavon foam cutters. How you doing, Michael? You take the Upavon foam cutters, which is this pack here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 in total. Only 5 in that pack because I got 1 in the drill here beside me. And you cut your different size booby eyes that you want to out of your foam block. And that's generally the way I do it from now on. Okay, you can find all that stuff in our store. We stock all the Upavon products here as well. Great products and really well worth getting some of it in. The foam is handy. Not only do I use that for booby cord, I use it for bungs. I use it for that kind of a foam. I just cut it with razor blades and stuff like that if I need thin foam sheets as well. So that's another way of obtaining your booby. Okay, so we're going to go down this road and we're going to do some cutting and show you how we form boobies. And yeah, absolutely, Aidan Gill, good for, how you doing, Tom Hipwell? Good for doing yes, I do indeed, Robbie Berry. We have them foam cutters downstairs in the shop. Yeah, we have the foam cutters downstairs in the shop. So here I got my cordless drill. Okay, here I got my cordless drill, and in that then you can see I've got my foam cutters. Okay, so here's my block, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill my block right through and out. Just don't force it too much. Don't force it too much. Straight through, and there is my booby cord sitting inside my tube. Okay, what I'll do then is I get a needle or something. There is a little bit of, as you can see, a little cavity here where I can actually get a needle, or in this case a tweezers, and I just push it out there, get it out enough to grab with my finger and pull it out, and hey presto, there's my booby cord. Okay, cut out the size, depending on what size I want to do, depending on what colour. I have my booby cord perfectly formed now out of my up having box. Put away your cutters. How you doing, Lucas? You're very welcome. Dennis Golden won our gunny bag last week. How you doing, Trevor Noon? You're very welcome, Dennis. Hope you enjoyed the few bits and bobs that's in it. So there I have my booby cord cut out and my up having fly box. Say cut whatever colours. Here I got a whole bunch of them here cut for tonight. All the different kind of things. Okay. So once you have them cut, that's one part of the process. Okay. And say we cut it roughly to around sort of 1 cm, which would be about half of that booby, okay, half of that booby cord. How you doing, Dominic? So the diameter of that one is around 5 mil. Let's see. The diameter of that one is 5 mil. Tom, I'm just doing one in random just to show you the process more so than I'll talk about the diameters when I'm actually mounting them on the flies. But that one's around 5 mil. There's 6 different sizes in the pack, as you can see. There's 5 in that. Obviously, there's one here on my desk. But you cut it to whatever size. Depending on the size of the fly I'm going to tie will depend on what size booby cord am I going to use, okay? But for now, we're just talking about how the process of how to form our booby eyes before we get ready to tie flies, okay? I normally sit down for an evening. If I know I'm going to tie a lot of booby flies, be it for stock lakes or wild fisheries, traditional trout patterns, should I say, I'll sit for an hour or two before and I'll pre-form all my booby eyes, okay? So cut that in half. Say, for example, okay? Now, before we start any other process of rounding, and we always round the edges of the booby eyes, okay? We never leave them square. We always round them, okay? It will affect how when you're stripping your boobies back through the water, a good, neat, clean rounding will help them swim straight. If it's a bit off or a bit off centre, they can spin a lot, okay? So it's important to put a little bit of time into forming your booby eye, okay? So what I'll do initially is I will take off the first edge. Now, there's a few ways of doing booby eyes, okay? Now, on our blog, we had the Brian Kerr, we mentioned there a moment ago in the Congratulating the Irish Team. Brian Kerr would kindly come on and wrote a blog for us. Brian would be well renowned of forming great booby eyes and stuff like that. But Brian came on and wrote a blog for us on our blog, so you can go back onto that there and find it. All I'm doing here is just taking the edge off of, and Brian would always use the scissors. So he does it in 3 cuts. The first cut, which is what I'm doing now initially, he'd do a secondary cut down on another angle, and then a third cut on another angle to get that perfectly round, okay? To get those perfectly round, those edges. We want them nice and smooth and round, okay? So we have our booby cord just trimmed off the edge here. So that's one way of doing it, is with the scissors, okay? There's another way of doing it, and we're using electronic drill. Now you can see that drill, it's a Dremel, okay, or this is a cheaper version of Dremel, okay, and you can see that cavity, that smooth round cavity that's in the top of that, okay. So I place my booby cord into I have it in the tweezers here, okay, and what I'll do is I'll turn on that drill. It'll be a bit noisy here now for anybody, not too bad though, okay. I hope you can all still hear me. And what I'll do is I'll just push my booby cord and I'll just move it around in that little cavity. Keep a good tight grip on it, and that just smoothens off the edges. So once I do that side, turn it around, and I'll do the other side. Again, same part, just get it in there, move it around, and that just smoothens off, giving me nice round edges on the edge of my booby cord. Okay, that's another way of doing it. So there's the second way. How you doing, Alan? Absolutely great. So that's one way. That's another way of doing boobies, okay? So I've got nice smooth edges now. Give it a bit of roll between the fingers, any little debris that might be left on it. And what I've got now is 2 nice round edges, and I'm ready to go and start the next process of getting my booby eyes ready, okay? There's also a very accomplished angler, Steve Cullen, over in the UK, who made a fantastic video. Steve has got a great YouTube channel and stuff there, but you can go on there, and what Steve actually does is, after he does the cutting process, is he puts them into a little tub or a little tray, a self-made tinfoil tray, and he places it into the oven at 180 degrees for about 6 or 8 minutes. And you just, after your initial cut, no Dremel, no, just after your initial cut, and he bakes the eyes, and you get a lovely smooth, very, very smooth. As you can see, the smoothness of that edge there is absolutely smooth out, lovely and round. So just initial cut off the corner, and then into the oven for about 10 minutes. Yeah, absolutely, John. Yeah, so that's another way. Steve Cullen has a great video up on it. You can check that one out. I'm not going down to the oven just to do it now for you, but check it out on Steve's YouTube channel. Very good idea. You can do a lot of them very quickly that way. So I can pre-cut them here, just take off the edge, put a ton of them into the oven and bake them, and then I get all these lovely formed round edges on my very smooth and clean round edges on my booby cord, ready to go. Okay, so once you have a pile of those cut and ready, obviously you got to spend a bit of time getting those prepared. Do your drilling, get your cutting right to length, whatever your different sizes are, be it 3mm, 5mm, 7mm. Good man, John. John's telling us all where the oven is. Yeah. But once you've got them all prepared, or you can buy the pre-cut ones. They're good foam as well. You can buy the pre-cut ones, get them all shape size, take the edge off them. You can bake them, drill them. Drill them's a little bit slower. I think I find it a bit more easier. But definitely, putting that prep work into your booby eyes is absolutely crucial. So once we got those three things, whatever way you've decided to choose, then it's time to start thinking about mounting them on the flies, okay? Or getting them ready to mount on the flies. They're still not ready. Now I'm going to stick the vise back in here, and I'm going to show you the way I do it. You can, Robert. Yeah, Robert Flaherty. Quick touch of yellow flame off a lighter will also do the same. Hi James Murphy's on with us there. Me, I'd end up melting the bloody things. So I tend to, I was going to set up the camera now on the vise. So what I do once I've got those perfectly formed is I sit here with a needle. Okay, I put a needle into my vise, and whatever thread I'm going to use to tie those booby cords, depending on what flies I'm going to be tying, afterwards, my different booby cords. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove one of those boobies, the ones that have been rounded, through that. Slide it up there a bit more, please. Put it through that. Don't worry if it's 100% not straight through the middle. It's not going to matter in a few moments. And once I've got that mounted onto my needle, I'm then going to take my thread and I'm going to go straight down into the center. It is very important to get both those sides even. Okay, couple of turns there. Take away my thread. Whip finish. Slipped out on me. I'll get it in there yet. Yep. Whip finish. Don't over tighten. You don't want the thread to cut right through that booby cord. And so forth. Slide it off the hook. And then you have a nice set of booby eyes ready to be mounted onto your, nice and round, perfectly even, both sides, ready to be mounted on your fly, whatever it's going to be. Okay? So I'll keep doing that process all evening. Not this evening, but I would do it constantly. I would have a whole tub of flies there, or booby eyes ready to go, and I would just constantly keep dividing them up and prepping them. Have them all prepped. Okay, much easier than doing it as you go. And just whip finish again. Just a couple of turns there, just to form those two eyes. When we actually go to form our flies, it will actually be, we'll be putting more in there. Dennis, good man, Dennis. Dennis loves his boobies. Very effective flies, guys, and really can be, as you can see, all the different colour boobies for different things that we use. You got black ones, white ones, the whole thing. How you doing, Mark? Good to have you on with us there. Mark Robinson's on with us as well tonight. Hope everybody's keeping well. We're also cross-patting over tonight to the Irish Spring Angling Fair Facebook page. Don't forget that fair is going to take place next year between the 29th and the 30th of April. Fantastic fair there last year. Really was a great event. Lots of great fly tyers and fishing instructors and casting instructors and everything there. Great event down in Mooncoin in County Kilkenny. Whole weekend down there in the Dare Springs. Fantastic. Make sure you join us this year. So we're streaming to their page. So hi everybody that is on that page. So as you continue, we continue on, make up all your different booby eyes. Okay, so then you're ready. Once you've got them all made, they're all in front of you, you're ready then to start making your fly. And thinking about, I'm going to move a little bit of stuff here now and just make a bit of space, get some of that booby stuff out of the way. Yeah, Peter McCartan there. She overheard booby eyes. Yeah. Some people have a one-track mind, Peter. But anyway, so I'm going to start off with the Booby Mayfly. Okay, great pattern, a lot of success. A lot of anglers had a lot of success on this one this year, and really was looking forward all summer to showing you this one. Great pattern, and now of course you can add booby eyes to any pattern. Okay, it's not just these ones. These are ones that I have just experience with of tying for people or fishing myself, and they really are. They were good flies. Just adjusting the camera slightly a little bit there. Okay, so starting with a size 8 Camazon B175 in here, and going to add on a bit of Kevlar. So basically the pattern is basically the pattern is just a normal lock style pattern. This is a lovely mayfly pattern, wet May. I'm going to have a little bit of orange medium holographic tinsel by UTS. Okay, and I'm going to add in a little tag down there. Plenty of rain and plenty of water now, folks, in the rivers and lakes around the country. The Nor here below the house is just ready to burst. Right bit of rain now. The last couple of days, even here now tonight, I can hear it on the window behind me. It's absolutely spilling. So just tying in a nice little tag, holographic tag there at the bottom of that fly. Just take your time. Mind you don't nick the edge of that hook. Secured and well. I got some orange, dyed orange pheasant tail here. And I'm just going to add in a piece of that for my tail. There's about 6 or 8 fibres that there. I'm going to put a nice long tail on it. I always like a nice long tail on my fly wets. Bring that down there. Secured and well. I'm going to take my oval gold. Shores up as well, Lucas is saying. Yeah, I'd say it is. Yeah, all the rivers around us. Midlands here. Oval gold, small. And I'm going to attach that onto the hook as well. And I'm going to take a golden bumble olive seals fur I have here. And I'm going to dub some of that on there. Just before I do, I'm going to put on a little bit of wax onto that Kevlar. Wax it up a little bit. And then put on me. This is a lovely pattern even without booby eyes. It's a lovely attractive fish pattern. Dub on my seals fur. Start taking it up the body. But still, you've got to be conscious of when you're tying these flies that you are going to have booby eyes up at the head once the fly's finished. We never put in oh well, Kevin Maher, how you doing, Kevin? Hope you're keeping well. The Kings come over the ranks last night at the in Callan. Well, you know, you're never going to, even though I have gone up, you know, there still is a little bit of a gap there. I'm going to intentionally leave that gap now as I build the fly, and that is going to be for my booby eyes. Okay, here I got a golden olive, a dark golden olive saddle feather, and I'm going to add that in there. Don't forget, folks, you can be in to win all these lovely flies this week. All you got to do is hit the share button on the stream or send in a comment there. Same with all our YouTubers. Hi to all our YouTubers tomorrow as I wind this down the hackle. If you comment on your... We haven't had a YouTube winner this year yet. Maybe this week will be your lucky week. But if you comment in the comment section, you will be entered into the draw to win all these flies during the week. Don't forget, I have a trivia quiz tonight. I will ask you shortly. A question, first correct answer in will win a nice goodie bag. And don't forget, if you ever need any fly tying or fly fishing gear, give us a shout here at Piscari Fly and we'll be glad to look after you. Take away my ribs. So I just ribbed up that hackle. Get in there and cut away the waist. Just trap them back a bit. Make sure we're nice and secure. And there we got our lovely palmered body of that mayfly. Okay, that's a lovely mayfly pattern, nice and big, perfect for the waves. And it'll look nice then when we get it finished. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in some natural French partridge. Well, Mark and Patrick, everybody loves boobies. Add in some partridge. I need my hackle pliers here now, if I can find it. Here we go. Add in some French partridge here. Just going to pinch the top of the French partridge with my hackle pliers and brush back those Of course, it's not a new phenomenon of putting boobies onto natural traditional patterns. It's been around for a while. But say over the last 2 seasons, we are getting asked for an awful lot more of them. And I'm just going to start winding up that natural partridge, French partridge. Just up there where I finished. Not right at the head of the fly. Just up there where I finished. Just not putting too much pressure on it. Just like it up to the core. Wiggle that through. Get the core well secured in. Take away your waist. And then just get your finger and thumb in there at the head of that fly. And stroke all them back for the moment. Don't worry if there's a few little bits smaller stuff. We can just remove them with the scissors. Now before we go any further with your dubbing brush or whatever brush you have, we want to stroke all those feathers to kind of come up on the top. So as you can see, I'm stroking them all up there. Just manipulate that feather. It's going to be like an underwing. Okay, so bring it around, expose the underside and get them more brushed up towards the top. If you can see what I'm trying to do. Okay, once I get them up there, with the finger and thumb, just stroke them up and get another turn or two up there to secure them up all in place. So those natural feathers are all up near the top. Okay, once they're up there, then we're going to take a mallard flank dyed yellow and we're going to complete the same process again. Clean it up. And we're going to catch out our hacker pliers and just do the same process around. Again, be mindful that we need to mount booby eyes on this afterwards. I'm not going to put the whole feather in there. Sugar. I'll be nearly as well doing it with my fingers. I'm not going to put the whole feather in there. I'm going to put about 2.5 to 3 turns. Okay, get your thread up through, securing that stem. Remove your waist, and the same as before, fingers and thumbs. Get all that stroked back and secured in. Hi Billy, watching Father Ted. Can't beat a bit of Father Ted. So once we got all that nicely stroked back, so you can see what we have there now. You can just get a nice subtle look at that grey underwing. Our final hackle that will go on this fly then will be a dyed yellow French partridge again. Lovely, beautiful, big wet mayfly pattern this. And we're just doing the same process again. And we put in the whole feather this time. This is definitely one for a wave. Take away our waist. That's for sure, Kieran. And again, just stroke everything back. You can give it a little bit of a brush if you want at this stage, just to get everything nice and even. Stroke back well. And then secure everything in. Now we're not going to form a head just there yet. Okay, we're ready to mount our booby eyes. Okay, as you can see, we have our nice mayfly, our nice wet mayfly tied. And what we're ready to do now is put in our booby eyes. Okay, couple of ways. Hi Dieter. There's a couple of ways we can mount them after this. At any stage you can mount booby eyes. Okay, so we've got our preformed booby eyes that we made earlier on. Here's a nice set of orange booby eyes. These ones are 5mm booby eyes. Okay, for this particular size 8. Thanks Paul. It is a fabulous looking fly. Something else when it's wet. So we got them ready to mount. Okay, now again, if you watch Steve Cullen mounting his booby eyes and a few other guys, what they'll do is they'll put those booby eyes, not preformed but even as a full cylinder, in there, and they will wrap them once, twice, 3 times on the thread, give it a little bit of a pull, and now it's in there. Okay, you can see it on the thread. Okay, and what they'll do then is continue to wrap on around, wrap it and wrap it to get closer. It's not going to fall off. Wrap it and wrap it and get closer, and hey presto, they're sitting up there on top of the fly. Okay, we always want those booby eyes sitting slightly on top of the fly. Okay, and then all I have to do then is a figure of 8 in or around, couple of turns. Take your time, don't trap anything unnecessary. Keep it all neat as possible up near the head. Turn your vice over if needs be. Figure of 8 in around there a couple of times. Couple of turns of the head, and they're well secured in. Okay, very simple. You can see these are some of the ones that were pre-baked in the oven. You can see how smooth those are, how shiny they are, how nice they're sitting up along in there. Thanks, Graham. Not credited for that particular move. Steve Cullen and a few of the other guys from the UK are credited with that move. But it's a nice, fast system to tie them. Another way, I'll show you another way how I tend to mount myself a little bit when we get on to the next fly. But there's your Booby mayfly with a lovely orange head on it, lovely orange booby. I'll now put on a little bit of that dubbin again. Small little bit. You don't have to if you don't really want to, but I just like a little bit for that under, just to tidy up the underside of that booby head. Okay, but before I do, I'll put on that dubbin, have it ready to go. I'll turn my fly upside down. And I said it's very important that you get both those sides even. You know, that's why we preform them, because if the two balls that are up there at the top, the two booby eyes, if they're not even on both sides, when you're stripping, them things will bloody spin. You hit a fish, crack, off goes the line because you're furling up your leader. Okay, so they've got to be even on both sides. That's why we do the prep work, okay, to make sure everything's done. So I have a little bit of Zap-A-Gap here, or a little bit of super glue, whatever you want to use. I tend to use Zap-A-Gap or super glue, not so much varnish. And I'll just get a little bit in there on the underside of that fly. And it'll soak up into the underside of those booby eyes, just to make sure that they're well secured. I'll always have a spare needle nearby. And I'll just make sure my eyes are nice and clean before I go on any further. Just in case if any of that gets up into the eyes, just make sure I give them a little clean. Okay. As I have it on the other side, underside then, what I'll do is I'll get one or two little turns of dubbin. Very, very slight little piece of dubbin, just to tidy up the underside of that fly. Okay. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Kieran. And what I'll do then is I'll just hold back the booby eyes with my finger and thumb and get in there, expose the eye, whip finish, slot it right through. No need for varnish or nothing like that. That super glue that's the Zap-A-Gap is going to set that. Any unwanted little fibres off of your dubbin, trim them out of your way. And there you have a lovely Booby mayfly. Absolutely beautiful pattern. Booby eyes sitting lovely proud on top. Nice body. That thing is going to make some disturbance when it comes to the water. Very attractive fish catcher. Even the mayfly pattern in itself is thanks, Kevin. Brown trout, Kevin. Brown trout in the locks. You know, in the mayfly pattern itself is quite a nice attractive pattern, but with the booby eyes gives it a lovely extra finish, and definitely when you're looking at it here in your hand, you go, God, how could a trout even, you know, on a nice wavy day, top dropper or something. Very good idea. Yeah, well done, Robert. When winding on, you wind way back from the eye to make sure you leave enough space. Thanks, Garrod. Thanks, David. Floating line, David. Yeah, and if it was in, you know, it depends on the time of the year, depends what level the fish are on. They can be often fished, like I say, initially the boobies were designed to be fished down deep, you know, on a sinking line. But yeah, you can fish that on a floating line if the trout were looking up, and you'll certainly draw a lot of attention to, if not to that fly, but the two that are coming out of it. Thanks, John. Thanks, John. So there we go. That's our first flight for tonight. We got two more coming, folks. But I'm going to leave you for a moment, and we're going to still stay on the mayflies just for a moment. Now, not a booby mayfly. We're going away a little bit off topic here. But our very good friend in Lithuania, Rokas from Fly to Tie, fly fishing business over there in Lithuania, sent us over a lovely little dry mayfly pattern, and been dying. I've had it a couple of weeks now. Been dying to show to you, and I thought, how you doing, Sorka? Great to have you. Hey, Elaine. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Dennis. Dennis on there, similar patterns worked very well during the international Melvin, and I think a lot of the Melvin anglers would have, you know, really have a lot of the guys that fish Melvin would have been fishing these quite. Thanks, Neil. Would have been fishing this style of fly for a lot longer than most other people. Okay, but there you go. You can see the lovely shine, the lovely clean booby eyes, nice and even on both sides, and that thing is going to swim really well and dead straight. Okay, so we're going to come back with two more booby patterns in a few moments, but I'm going to leave you with Rokos there for a few minutes. Thanks, Hugh. And Yes, you can, George. You can use whatever size hook you want. Obviously, if I drop down in hook size, I'm going to drop down in maybe fly size, and I'm going to drop down in booby cord size. That's why the cutters are handy because you can cook the booby whatever size. It depends, Robbie. It depends, but you can cut the boobies whatever size you want, depending on the fly size. The next one I'm going to be tying is on a size 10. It's a stimulator size, stimulator size 10 booby, stimmy, and you're going to see it depends, Robbie. If stripping it fast on the surface, you're going to create a lot of, it depends how fast the boat is moving. It's a free drifting boat. If you're in a drogue, if fish is stagnant, something like that could quite good. Washing line style too, out on the point and supporting two smaller flies or nymphs in underneath it. There's no limits to what you could do with a fly like that. Really, it's all about trial and error, Robbie, and at some stage you're going to meet the fish. But I'm going to hand you over to Rokas here now, our first guest fly tyer. He ties a beautiful dry fly, ties a lovely fly, full stop. But enjoy this one. I'm going to be back in a few minutes, folks, and we got those two other fly patterns to go. Also, when we go back, we'll be doing our trivia for the lovely goodie bag that's there. Stay with us, and I'll see us all in a few minutes. And I'll just find out how to get to here now. Okay, see you in a minute.
Hello to everyone joined the Pescari fly tying sessions. It's fall time, which means the fly tying is back again. And I'm thankful for Peter for inviting me to join his stream for the third year in a row. So thanks for the great opportunity. Of course, this is a recording, so I'm not here live with you. However, I'll be trying to stay up for the stream. I'll be in the comment section, so if you do have any questions about the fly as we go on, just feel free to ask them. I'll do my best to answer any of the questions you have. Today I'll be tying a fairly simple CDC mayfly. Pretty much all of it is tied using CDC, excluding the tail. It's just a lovely pattern that sits low on the water, has a lot of natural movements, and really one worth having in your box. I am using a 1x long dry fly hook in size 12 for this fly. Although I've tied this pattern in anywhere between size 8 and size 18, so you really feel free to experiment and match the naturals. Just start your thread at the hook eye and move it all the way back to where the hook starts to bend. Here I'll be tying in my tail. I'll be using a Coq de Lion feather for the tail. If you want to experiment and play around with CDC, you can also tie a CDC tail. However, I'll stay true to the recipe for now and use Coq de Lion. 4 or 5, 6 fibers from the feather, just pluck them away and measure the tail to be roughly a hook in length. Transfer the fibers to your left hand and tie them in on top of the hook. So remember, this is a mayfly imitation. Don't be shy with the length of the tail. Roughly the length of the hook is what I found to be perfect for this pattern. Once you've tied in the tail, once again, make close turns with your thread all the way back to the base of the tail. I'll be using a cream colored CDC feather for the body. Pick out quite a long feather that's long enough to be wrapped around the hook shank to form the body. Once again, you feel free to play around with the colors and to match the naturals that you're trying to imitate. Catch the feather in roughly around the middle with a couple of turns and start pulling it in. This way you're catching all the longer fibers, and when just the very tip of the feather is left, secure it on top of the hook and move your thread back to the hook eye. Grab the feather with your hackle pliers And start by making a single turn around the hook to form a base of CDC for the first turn, and with each turn afterwards just twist the CDC feather a couple of times, twisting it into sort of a rope, and wind it around the hook shank, forming the body. Since the CDC feather has a stem that tapers quite significantly towards the butt end, winding the CDC feather like that to form a body creates a naturally tapered body thanks to the thickening of the stem. So you really don't need to worry about the proportions and the tapering too much. The feather just does all the work for you. Just keep on doing that with each turn, catching any loose CDC fibers. It looks like a bit of a mess right now, but it can be quite easily trimmed up, and form the body to be roughly 2/3 of the hook shank in length. Once you're there, just tie the feather off with your thread. Make sure it's secure and sniff the butt ends off close. Now I'll just get my thread out of the way to the hook eye and clean up the body, leaving just the part that has been wound around the hook shank without any stray fibers looking out. And once you trim the body like that, you can really see the natural taper of the CDC, forming a very, very delicate but nice taper to the body of the fly. Now, just with a few more turns, make sure that the stem of the CDC feather is secure. For the wing of the fly, I'll be using a couple of white CDC feathers. Just pick 2 feathers out of the packet. And I won't be needing them to face away from each other, so I just even up the tips so that they're nice and even. Brush the fibers to the front, transfer the feathers to my left arm, and at this point just measure the wing to be roughly a hook shank in length. Tie it in the middle part, roughly the middle part of the bare hook that you have remaining. And once you've done that, lift the wing up gently, make a couple of dam wraps on the front, and then to lock it in to be vertical, you pull both of the CDC feathers forward towards the eye of the hook and use your left arm to keep the wing up straight, and a couple of pinch wraps in front of the hook, securing the 2 feather butts. The result should be a wing that stays vertical and it's locked in that place, it's not going anywhere. Once that is done, just stick your scissors in between the wing and the feather butts and just snip them off close. You can keep the remaining butts. If you use long feathers, you can keep them for CDC hackles or CDC dubbing. Don't throw them away. And once that's done, tie everything in securely. Now, the natural wing of the mayfly isn't formed like this. For fishing, it doesn't really matter. It's just in terms of looks, I prefer a more natural look to the wing, so I'll come in with a pair of curved scissors and just snip it off lightly towards the end. Once again, this is completely decorative if you don't want to do this. You don't really have to, just feel like it provides a nicer wing and it doesn't really take away anything from the fly. Once that's done, move your thread right where your body stops and form a dubbing loop. You can either use a split thread if you're using one of those threads that's easy to slip. In this case, I'm using a thread that's not that easy to split, so I'll just form a dubbing loop and move the thread out of the way, all the way back to the hook eye. Stick my dubbing spinner into the loop, and now I'll prepare CDC for the thorax and the hackle. I will be using 2 CDC feathers to form it. I'm using the gray color for this particular pattern. Just pick out 2 slightly longer feathers so that you can stick them into the CDC clamp, to whatever tool you're using, whether it be the Petition clamp. Here I'm using just a Stomful clamps, paper clips, anything works, anything that works for you. So just pick a couple of feathers, line them up by the tips, and gently stroke them backwards so that the fibers stand up vertically to the stem. You can pluck away the very back fuzzy fibers at the very butt end, and then just slip the 2 CDC feathers into the clip like that. You can immediately clip away the ends that you won't be using, and using another clip, transfer only the tips of the feather there, and at this point you can cut away the stems of the 2 CDC feathers, leaving you a prepared material that's ready to be put into a dubbing loop. Now just insert it inside of the dubbing loop. Make sure it's tight enough to hold it together. Spread it out slightly if you feel like you need to, and spin up the loop tight enough so that these CDC fibers aren't going anywhere. You're going to want to wind the CDC slightly similar to how you would wind the soft hackle, just instead of brushing it backwards to keep the fibers out of the way with each turn, you're going to be wanting to brush it slightly upwards so that as many fibers as possible get trapped looking up rather than looking down, because the profile of the fly, we want it to be laying pretty flat on the water surface. So the more hackle fibers points up, the lower is gonna sit on the water. Make 2 or 3 turns each side of the wing and tie off the dubbing loop. Once the loop's secured, you can cut it off close and just form a nice neat head at the front of the hook eye to pretty much finish the fly. Make a 4 or 5 turn whip finish to secure the thread. Cut the thread off close, and what I like to do at this point is to just trim any hackles that are still looking down flush with the bottom of the hook, and then just trim any fibers that you feel are getting into the way of the way you want the fly to look. I like to keep a few long fibers pointing out, because once the fly sits on the water, once the fly lands, they spread out nicely and they look pretty much like legs, and nothing really imitates legs better than some stray longer CDC fibers. So at this point, as long as I'm happy with the way the fly looks, just pick up some varnish, finish the head, let the varnish dry, and the fly is ready to fish. It really is a fairly simple pattern once you get the gist of the main core techniques. You can tie it in a variety of sizes, pretty much imitate any upwing, and it's just a great dry fly to have in your box. Thanks for watching. I hope you try out this fly. I'm sure it's gonna bring you many lovely fish. If you have any questions, once again, I'll be in the comment sections. Feel free to ask them. We'll be working on more content in English, so if you feel like it, just check out our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and get in touch if you have any questions in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Rokus. What a lovely fly. Yeah, lots of nice comments there. Really nice work, Rokus. Thanks everyone for commenting. Rokus is a great fly there. We've got other Rokus very kindly actually sent us quite a few videos this year, and he's always been a great supporter of the show here, and indeed Biscari Fly. We work together on a few things. I'm actually Rokus's mentor. He's coming over in probably the new year to do his APGOI exams, his APGOI flight tying exams, so I'm his mentor. So we've been working together a bit. Lovely guy, fantastic flight tying. I'm sure it'll be a walk in the park from great depth of knowledge for a young flight tying, but beautiful flight tying there from Ocus. He's going to be on along the series, folks, with lots of other patterns for us, and absolutely, John. But so make sure and keep an eye out for Ocus, along with lots of other flight tyers. We have loads of videos and different themed nights coming up along the way. We'll have Nymph in November, we'll have Pike nights, we'll have streamer nights, we'll have bass nights. Lots of great flight tyers coming on, sharing their skills and information, and we really appreciate everyone's support to the show and stuff like that. It's fantastic. Again, as I always mention, if someone's out there that wants to come on the show, share their flight tying, share their love of flight tying and fly fishing, you are more than welcome. Get in touch with us here in Biscari Fly. We'd love to have you on the show. It's all about the community and sharing information and having somewhere we can all go and have a bit of a chat, and of course a bit of crack. Very important, folks, to have a bit of fun at this game. At the end of the day, it is only fishing, it's only flight tying. Have a bit of fun, and we all learn and get a little bit out of it, and it's great to have the community that we've built up here at Biscari Fly. We really do appreciate everyone's support, and great to be able to come on here every Saturday night and see so many people watching the show and taking something from the show. And don't forget, you'll catch us at the Irish Spring Angling Fair and at 29th and 30th of April next year for that show down in Mooncoin. So make sure you come along. We'll be there in person with lock, stock and barrel. I'll be doing some talks along with lots of other key speakers and guests and professionals, and it'll be great. So for tonight, we got a lovely lucky bag full of goodies to give away. Dave is not here. He's not in Pennies. He is on a plane probably, or in Dublin Airport at the moment, just coming back from Wales after fishing the fabulous Corn and water there. So tonight it's all about Booby Night, and our question's going to be about Booby Night too. So we mentioned earlier on Gordon Fraser was the man who's been kind of credited with the invention of the booby, or at least, you know, he named the fly booby when he put two polystyrene balls up in front of a hook. What I want to know is, he wrote it in a book. It was in a book. He's accredited with a book. I want to know the year. So first correct answer in on the stream. I'll do my best to keep an eye on the stream as I'm tying this fly. If I miss you, I apologise. I'll go back on the stream to get the first correct answer. I want to know what year was that book released. So what year did Gordon Fraser release his book? First correct answer in wins a lovely goodie bag full of prizes. And don't forget, you can win tonight's flies, any flies I've done prior to this, practicing before I started tonight. You can win those flies. Very close, Damien, very close, Robert. Wrong years though. You can win those flies. All you got to do is share the stream, comment or share on the stream. Hit the share button on the stream onto Facebook. Close Declan Noon and wrong size. Graham Lanigan, would you believe it, Graham? You won. Graham Lanigan, 1987. On my stream, the first correct answer in is Graham Lanigan. I'm absolutely delighted, Graham. You've been trying hard for 3 years to win the trivia, and the one night Dave is away. Congratulations. Well done, Graham. Graham, I got a lovely lucky bag full of goodies, stickers, tippets, all sorts of stuff in there on its way to you. Well done, well done. Yes, Jim, you're absolutely correct. It is Mastering the Nymph in 87. But the first person that came up on the live feed here in the stream was Graham Lanigan. And Graham, I'll have that out to you first thing Monday morning. But the giveaways don't stop there, folks. You can win all the flies. So you're going to win this one as well if he's like. This is a size 10 Camazan I have here in the voice. And we are going to do... I know, Graham, I don't believe it either. But anyway... The one night Dave is away. But anyway, so this is a stimulator. Okay, stimulators are top of the water pattern, really effective on the likes of lean and stuff like that. Really effective on the likes of lean and and stuff like that. And we all fish them there with great success. So a booby stimmy is a natural progression to really to go to the next level, as you say. So it's size 10 Camazan here, B175, and I'm attaching my Kevlar thread to it. This is a lovely fly. Love tying these. For the tail here, I'm going to put in a little bit of natural deer hair. This is our own Pescari fly deer hair. Small little pinch of that. Strip it out, going to stack it. You can start a little campaign there, Graham. Going to stack it in my deer hair stacker. Just wrong fix, yeah, Joe, yeah. All about having a bit of crack. A little bit of a stack there. And I'm going to mount that in there on top of the hook. It's going to flare. As you can see, I'm doing several turns there secured in. Not putting a massive amount of pressure on that. I don't want to cut that deer hair with the Kevlar until I get a couple of turns. Holding my tail at all times. Separate the waist and hold the waist up away from the tail. Allows me to get in there in one cut. Clean that straight out. Don't worry about how that flares a little bit. That's natural for deer hair to do that. We'll get all that well sorted by the time we're finished. If it's flaring a bit like that, what you do is catch the whole thing, give it a little bend, and that'll help massage it down. We'll do that several times throughout the process of tying this fly and the wings and stuff, and that helps to get that you're correct too, Dennis Goulin. Unfortunately, Graham Lanigan was fast off the gun tonight, and Graham took the prize. So once I've got that secured in, as you can see, it's starting to flatten down a little bit. But when we get the rest of the fly done, it'll settle in lovely. Okay, going to add in a little bit of angel hair. Okay, red angel hair by Sabaya. Okay, lovely, really fine. It's not like a crystal flash or anything like that. Very light, not very heavy. A lovely fine material. Add a very subtle little bit of red flick into that tail. Okay, so a couple of strands of that, not much, and you just break them off there. Don't go cutting them straight, just tease out your ends and just place that in there and just kind of massage it in around that tail. We only want a subtle little red fleck in that tail, as you can see. Okay, not overpowering, not like crystal flash or any of those kind of materials. Very subtle, and I'll just nick out any little extra long bits I don't want. Okay, cut away my waist. That's a lovely subtle little bit of red flash in there, that tail. Make sure everything's well secured in. Okay, you can get all that Sabaya. Oh, you have the book then. It's all lovely. Love to see that. I don't have that one myself. Lovely. So once I got that done, I'm going to take a bit of silver wire here. This is 0.2 silver wire by Sabaya again. You'll find all this materials on our website, folks, for these flies. And we got our silver wire. Next thing is our dubbin, and we're going to use Hen's Spectra dubbin, white Spectra. Okay, again, you'll get it on the website there if anybody needs it. And not the UV, not UV for this one, okay? And I'm going to tease out a bit of that and put in a white Spectra body. Because it's a stimmy and it's a booby stimmy, don't forget, leave plenty of room at the head. Tease out another bit. And wind it up there as well. And that'll probably do me fine. I'm then going to take a white saddle feather. And I'm going to tie it in there. And I'm going to take that and just wind it down the body. Actually, I'm going to undo that. A little bit long there where I chose to tie it in. And I'm just going to expose a bit more of the cord and go back down along the feather a little bit. Then we'll go add a little bit of waste, and then I'm going to wind it down the body. That's better. Take my rib and then make my way back up. Wiggling it up so I'm not disturbing too many of those hackles. So we got lots of great shows lined up for you folks. We'll have our usual Christmas special with lots of great giveaways and guests on that particular one. Lots of great guests on. Lots of great guests coming on the show here over the next couple of months. We're going to be right here through to March, so do stay with us. If you're watching us from YouTube, thanks for watching us. Join us in. It will be up on YouTube tomorrow. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So once I've got my body, I'm then going to mount my wing, which is again natural deer hair. A little bit more than we put in the actual body. Cut it off the hide. Take away all the down and the bits of fluff that might be in there. Thin it out to the exact size I want. Perfect. I'll go back into my stacker. Just to stack those tips. But I'm going to take that and place it over the top. And I kind of want those tips there just to come a little bit short of the wrap around gently, and then as every wrap I'm getting more and more tension and working my way into that waist piece. Okay, holding my wing in place, keeping it all on top. Get my scissors in there, come up from the sides, and then just cut out and start trimming away all that waste. As you can see, holding on to my wing, making sure it stays in position so I get most of that waste out of the way. And just take your time, folks. Again, holding on to my wing, a couple of more turns to make sure everything's nice and secure. Take my angel hair again. Good question, James. This time of the year on stock fisheries, we will be doing some shows on stock fisheries very soon. We're going to be down at Dare Springs doing a bit of a show. We're going to be a few other places doing a bit of show this year. This time of the year, it depends on the stock fishery, really, James. The next fly I'm going to use is working quite well at the moment on stock fisheries. So make sure you keep in tune for that one. A little bit of that angel hair again, just tie it in there, fold it back. Tie it in there with that deer hair. Secured in quite well. Adds a lovely subtle kind of red shine to that wing, as you can see, and into the tail. Just roughly taking any of the longer pieces I want in and just making sure I spread them out evenly, fan them across that wing. Okay. Look at it, James. It could be lures, it could be minkies, depends on what level the fish are on, depends how recently it's been stocked. It would all depend, but the next fly has been working quite well, and it could catch a couple of fish. Okay, next thing, I dropped the actual feather that I'm going to use for the next part. I'm going to take a grizzle saddle feather here, and I'm going to place that in there. And then I'm going to take a little piece of hot red dubbin. This is hot spot dubbin, our own hot spot dubbin. I'm just going to tease out a little bit of that dubbin. This is a nice stimmy for kind of fry pattern as well. It's a fry simulation kind of thing. Works really well on the wool. I'm going to dub on a bit of that. Again, always holding my wing and everything in place. As you can see, I'm winding that back up rather than down. Take my hackle and then wind it down. So there's our lovely stimmy tied. Okay, really, really good stimmy. Very good pattern. Exactly, Sean Marr, what do you recommend? Yeah, Sean's the main man now. He took the first leg of AWOL. Well done, Sean. Keep it up now. No pressure. Put down a good benchmark for the first leg. Always good to have a good head start. So now we're ready to mount our booby eyes, okay, onto this particular yoke. What I'll do is I'll just trim away a little bit of the top of that, okay, making a bit of space there for myself. Now we've seen the way we mounted it. I'm going to put white booby eyes on top of this one. And basically all I'm going to do, because I've been pre-made, I'm pre-formed, I have everything ready to go. I'm going to hold them in in situ, and I'm just going to get a turn there, wrap them, in and unwrap them, and I'm just doing figure of eights into that cavity that we preformed, basically. And just take your time, making sure not to trap too many of those grizzle hackle fibres that we had put in place there. Couple of turns in around there. Nice and tight for space, of course, but exactly where I want it is right up there on the head of that fly. Just take your time. Get them back, just dispose that bit of eye once you got your couple of figure eights done, and then that holds them in position. Okay, lovely white stimmy, white. You can see nice even eyes there. On that one, take your whip finish. Again, hold back those booby eyes. Couple of turns in there of the whip finish. Keeps everything locked in. Take away your waist there, or your thread. Because we mounted them so high on the hook, there is no need to do anything underneath. Only trim away any one or two of those little grizzle hackles that you might have had up underneath. Little bit of varnish there on that one, thanks Kieran. This time I'm going to use the lacquer, okay, because we got a little needle on that. We got a little needle you can see up underneath there. And once I dip that in, I get a few little drops. You can see the little pin drops on the double, and I just hold that in there, and those little drops just slide down into the exact position where I want them, and that'll secure the booby eyes in and the thread and make sure everything's nice and safe. Thanks, James. And there we have a booby stimmy. Okay, you want those eyes mounted really nice and high on that fly. That thing is a serious fish catcher. You're fishing that thing in Lough, Lean and places like that. You're going to get results. As a stimmy alone, a booby stimmy. Thanks, Ricky. A booby stimmy, like definitely one for the box. Really good pattern. So we're going to move on from there, folks, to our final. That one's going into the tub there now as well. For anybody that wants to win those flies, don't forget to share the stream. Our last fly. So there's one. This is more of a kind of what you would expect. Thanks, Cyril. This is more of kind of, thanks, Ricky. This is more of a kind of a stocky fly. Okay, for the want of a better description. So apps worms can be really good this time of the year. Yeah, thanks, Nigel. Apps worms can be really good this time of the year on stocked fisheries, fished under a bung, fished even retrieving. I know Kevin Lafford, who just recently got the gold medal with the Irish team, is a genius when it comes to fishing worms, apps worms and stuff like that, long lining and stuff. Really, really effective pattern this time of year. Thanks, Mark. Really, thanks, Graham. Really, really effective patterns this time of the year. And this one is a booby apps. Okay, very simple thing to tie and super effective. Really, really effective. I would fish this on maybe a dive 3 or a dive 5, just off the bottom, or sometimes I fish it on a fast glass and just keep it under the surface. Okay, really, really simple fly to tie. So what I've got here is a bit of booby cord that I've pre-trimmed. Okay, I got my nice round edges, but as you notice, I haven't formed the two eyes yet. Okay, I'm not going to do that for the moment. I'm going to do that now in a few moments. What I got here in front of me is on my hooks and stuff, and I've got my threader. Okay, that's my threader for threading your thread bobbins. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove the threader right through the middle of the booby eyes. Shove that through, go through quite easy. If you don't have a threader, you can use a needle, but a threader is easier, and you'll see why in a minute. So it goes right through, so there we have it. Okay, shove it on up there, get it up out of the way. I'm then going to take 2 lengths of, good stuff, Kevin, must look that one up. 2 lengths, and this is pink, this is a pink apps. Okay, I'm going to take 2 lengths of flexifloss, pink flexifloss. Okay, we have that in the store there as well, in lots of colours. Thanks, Jared. And what I'm going to do is put that in between the 2 thread bobbiner, like so. Okay, so I've locked it in there up at top, and now I pull the booby cord back up, and what I'm doing is I'm pulling that flexifloss right through the middle of the booby cord, as you can see there. Okay, so we now got our flexifloss inside our booby cord, in through the middle. Make sure it's through the middle, and that's the first stage. Okay, ready then to take our hook. For this hook here, I am using is a Hannock competition H230BL size 10. I do most of my very good at the moment, James. There's a big competition on there tomorrow, but it's fishing quite well, heavily stocked. Sean Maher won the AWOL League there last weekend with 21 fish. I think there was in total, I think Dennis was 202 fish caught, Dennis, or something like that for the whole day. Fantastic fishing by the AWOL anglers. So I got my hook here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that hole that was made with thread bobbiner and the flexi-floss, and I'm going to force that hook through that hole. A few moments of just twisting and turning, but you want to get that hook. I'm going to have to force it in there. Get that hook coming through like that. Try not to rip the booby cord. Keep the pressure on that. I kind of come out a little bit there, so I'll just reverse back for a second. Takes a few moments just to get this one right. Follow the path of the hole as best you can. There we go. And get that. So you're basically treading on that booby cord up onto the hook, like so. And there we have it on our hook. Okay. What we're going to do then is we're going to mount the hook on our vise. As you can see, sitting on the hook, perfectly fine. Mount on your vise. Take your tying thread. Here I'm using just a classic waxed 8/0 Semperfli tying thread. And now I'm going to do exactly what we would have done with the needle. And I'm going to form that 2 booby eyes. Right there in the middle. Help secure it in. And get it, just helps get it on there. I just hit the camera there. A couple of turns of that. We're not finished yet. We're going to secure that all in now in 1 second. Trim away our thread. Get it up on top. And just before you're finished, you could slide that back down. It's never going to be that tight on it. Okay? Little bit of booby cord there just sticking out awkwardly. This is where my first attempts didn't go through perfectly. Okay, it's not bad. You could keep it on there like that, and it's fairly solid. But what I tend to do now is I slide it back along out of the way, and I get a little bit of my Zappa Gap, and I'll put a little bit of Zappa Gap on the hook. Do it as the last process. Don't do it before you tie on those eyes, form the eyes. Do this as the last. Little bit of Zappa Gap. Not too much. I'm not over squeezing the bottle. I don't want a mountain of it there. We don't need much. We just need a little bit just to secure that in, and then pull it up into place. Make sure it's sitting exactly where you want it. And there you have a booby apps. Such a simple pattern, but absolutely lethal as well. Okay, there we have it, folks. That is our booby night. I hope you've all picked up a few tips there along the way. I normally pull up all those legs together and I trim them off just on top exactly where I want them, and all the same length. Thanks, Amanda. I hope you've all picked up a few tips about boobies tonight. Thanks everyone for the contribution. Huge thanks to everyone for all their support as always. Desmond Paul is just on there now, folks. He just said he's putting together 2 charity mayfly boxes up on Facebook tomorrow evening. Each box has 3 patterns from Patsy Deary's mayfly book tied by John Saxton. The boxes are bespoke, built by Woolly Ireland. 480 flies per box. Proceeds will go. See more. I'm not going to click on to see more. Read that post, folks. Tomorrow evening, be on your guns ready. They are not going to last long. Fantastic. Well done. Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, James. But watch out. Desmond Paul has a super charity raffle on tomorrow. I am not going to miss that. Desmond, stick me now for a couple of numbers. They are magnificent, absolutely magnificent box of flies to win, and for a great cause, so please support. Thanks to everybody for watching again. Thanks, Gerard. Good night to everybody. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the weekend and just the rest of the Saturday night. Again, thanks everyone for the support. Don't forget, if you need any fly fishing or fly tying materials, give us a shout here on pescarifly.com. We'll gladly help you out, give you whatever advice you need, and hopefully get you the right products. Thanks to Kieran, James, John Bird. Glad you all enjoyed it. I'll see you all next week, folks. Next Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. with another live show right here from Pescari Fly. Have a great week. Stay safe, everyone. And those guys fishing leash tomorrow, best of luck. Hope you all enjoy your day. And we'll see who's going to win it. We'll post up next Saturday. We'll give the winner a shout. So good night, folks. Have a great evening. And I'll see you all next Saturday. Take care.